essentially, this one event changed my ethos on improvising for the rest of my life. And it's a story I want to share with you in case it resonates with some of you and you can sort of relate to it. And it may or may not help some of you. And that's the purpose of this video. It's with reference to not just improvising, but the connection with playing music truly live in the moment. And that's no jab at what's going on. It's just kind of coincidental. But anyway, in order to understand this, we have to go back to 2001. I was 20 years old and I entered a competition. Now, some of you may know about this, some of you may not. And if you don't, I won in 2002 this beautiful guitar. This is Ernie Ball MusicMan Axis, and I played this on a lot of the Jam Track Central videos back in the day. It's a real treasure in my life, and it signifies the thing I'm going to tell you about in a sec. Really nice guitar. It's got this plaque on the back. Winner of the Jam final at the NEC Birmingham, November 10th, 2002. That's wild, man. And yeah, very precious guitar to me. So, but in order to understand what I want to get across today, we have to go back 1 year earlier. So whilst I won it in 2002, a lot of people don't know that I entered in 2001 and I didn't win. And I'm going to try and explain why I think that may have been and how I overcome that problem. So the piece that they selected for the final was sort of a ZZ Top vibe, something like that, right? Just a simple A minor thing. And again, bear in mind I was only like 20 or something and hadn't had a huge amount of experience playing live, reasonable amount, but it was more about, right, this is a competition, so I obviously need to impress them, and I remember thinking, well, I need to figure out some cool licks, right? There's actually footage of me, maybe I'll try and insert it here, of me practicing on my blue floral gem, messing around on the track. Doing, all that kind of stuff. Just trying to make it, a bit of fun or whatever. And I remember trying to working some 7 licks, all this kind of stuff, and anyway, the main point about it was that I was trying to predetermine certain licks that I thought would be impressive, that would make people think, oh yeah, great, this guy's got his stuff together. And that's kind of what I did. I still improvised the solo. I didn't know what I was going to do for the whole thing, but let's say it was a 2-minute track. Let's say I had maybe 3 or 4 pretty big licks that I felt like, yeah, I'm going to get this in, and that was the plan. And here's the issue with that. In the moment, when you're in the flow, when you're in that state of connecting with what you're doing, and you decide to kind of do something that was predetermined, in my opinion, it's a bit of a juxtaposition, because you're in this flow state, which is completely natural and creative. Then you try to insert this lick that you think, oh yeah, this is the one, and sometimes it might work, but sometimes it may not, because it's a different headspace kind of thing. And therefore that can inform the rest of the performance, right? And I remember thinking, oh, I didn't quite pull that off, and then maybe I didn't feel so good, and then that kind of messed me up a little bit. Anyway, I finished the performance in 2001, and one of the judges came up to me and he said, hey man, that was really great, and it was so close. I just want you to know that, because I actually felt you should have won, but we had it out with the other judges, and they wanted to give it to the guy that won. I said, oh, no worries, man. I really appreciate the experience. It's been great. Thanks for having me. That was it. So I went about my merry way, and 7-8 months goes by, and I get a letter I think it actually was a letter back in the day. That's how long ago this was. It's like on a scroll, written in ink. Anyway, but it said, "Dear Alex, we're having another competition this year. We really think you should enter." And I was like, "Well, that's kind of weird. I mean, it's very flattering." And I thought about it for a while. I was like, "Oh, I kind of felt like I kind of did that." But then something told me, "Well, listen, they've invited you. Like, give it a go. They obviously enjoyed your playing, or for whatever reason." So I came and did the same process. I went, submitted my playing onto the track to get into the heat. Was lucky enough to win the heat. Got to the final, and there were 8 finalists from around the country. And this is the thing. I said to myself, you know what? This year, I'm not going to predetermine any licks at all. I'm just going to, play my little heart out and just try and connect, because it was the thing that bugged me the most, and perhaps if I'd never done the competition again, that would have kind of haunted me, the decision to try and like throw all these licks in, right? Anyway, so I went along. I had no idea what I was going to do. Of course, I'd played through the track a bunch of times and messed around, but I went at it completely fresh on the day and just played as naturally as I could. And it felt cool, I was still very surprised when they announced my name as the winner. What an elation. And especially because I felt like I just played as truly as I could, and it wasn't too preconceived, and it was natural, and maybe it wasn't as showy as perhaps some of the other guys, because I could see some of the other guys had like worked out some tapping stuff and probably were in that same mindset of trying to impress rather than just play. So my kind of takeaway from all of this is trying to play what you're comfortable playing live, be honest, be natural with it. In the practice room, keep pushing yourself. The stuff that we work on, it will come out. But if you try and force it out maybe a little too soon, then perhaps it's going to interfere with the flow of your playing, your solo, your performance. Don't get too hung up on doing all the cool stuff, is my point. Play at the level that you're comfortable, and slowly but surely, if you practice enough, it will seep into your playing eventually. It may take a few months, it might take a year, but put the work in the practice room, but leave the live performances natural and honest. And I suppose, just because of all the craziness going on at the moment, that's the thing that keeps us all honest, right? The authenticity of playing, and also it's the genuine joy. And I'm sure a lot of you guys know about this. When you're really playing with your mates or band, people in the band, and it feels good, and you're just enjoying it and having a good time. That's what it's about. Playing real is what it's about. If you're not doing that, then what's the point, hey? So anyway, but yeah, when it comes to improvising, keep it honest, keep it natural, have fun with it, and enjoy yourself, and try not to put too many impressive licks in. Just play from the heart, and you should be all good.